Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to cover some questions that's been asked about the Hover Air X1, which you may be wanting to know before deciding whether this little drone is right for you or not. Alright, let's go through a number of questions. So question number one is, does it always need someone in the actual frame? Now, in all modes apart from manual mode, it needs a human subject in the frame. So it doesn't actually have to be the same person every time. So as long as you hold it in front of the person before flying, it's going to follow that particular person. Now in manual mode, it doesn't actually need a human subject. And it can be flown around just like a drone. Now, have a look at my actual video that I've linked above, where I actually go through the manual modes on this particular drone, and so you can see how it actually responds like that. Okay, question number two. Can it follow objects like a car? So, like the question number one, it can only follow human subjects at present. Now, this might actually obviously change in a future update, but at the present time, it only follows humans. So it's not going to follow a dog, a cat, a gerbil, a car, or anything like that. Question number three. Alright, so question number three, does it have any object avoidance? Now, unfortunately, it only knows the actual height of the ground, so it doesn't actually have any sensor around the side, so it does actually have the potential to crash into objects. So, but I have actually been quite impressed by its uncanny ability to navigate through some rocks while I was walking. Now, it might just have been luck or maybe some magical sixth sense, but I wouldn't recommend just just winding it around and just hoping it's going to not crash into things. Question four, if it runs out of battery, will it crash or will it land? Now, when the battery is very low, the light's going to begin to flash and it's going to start to do its landing procedure wherever it is. That's very important. So it doesn't actually have any GPS, so there's no return to home, and it's not going to come back to any predefined point. It's just going to land where it is. So you've got to be really careful not to run out any of battery in anywhere that's quite dangerous or anything like that. So it's just going to make sure it lands on some nice flat surface and you'll be fine. The next question, so what about wind resistance? So it does have some minor wind resistance up to 18 miles per hour or 28 kilometers per hour. Question number six, will it come back and actually land in your hand? Now, it very much depends on the mode that it's in. In follow mode, you just have to stop still for 3 seconds and it's just going to fly back to you. In hover mode, if you hold out your hand, it's actually going to come back to you. And all the other modes, if you actually put your hand underneath it, it's just going to land on your hand. But it very much depends on what mode you're in. Question seven, how fast can it actually follow you? It can actually follow up to 15 miles per hour or around 24 kilometers per hour. So, go for it, see what happens. Question number eight, how loud is the drone? Now, I actually have the DJI Mini 3 Pro, the DJI Tello, and this little hover camera. And this is the quietest out of all these three. Now, if you're concerned about drawing attention to yourself using it in a populated area, then I would certainly feel comfortable using this drone, as it's probably noticeable only up to about 5 meters or so. And after that, it's just a kind of high-pitched noise, and it's going to just kind of drone out in the distance, maybe with the wind and stuff like that. So I'm going to probably do a comparison video on the noise levels between the three drones, just so you've got an idea of how loud it is. Alright, question 9. How far can it fly away from you? Now, it just has a range of 50 meters. So that's 50 meters up and 50 meters to the side as well. So just bear that in mind. Question 10. What about battery life? So the batteries themselves have a life of around about 10 minutes flight time. Now, bear in mind though that although this sounds quite rubbish, the modes are designed to be quick shots, so you literally just press the button, it's going to do its thing for around about 30 seconds or so, and then it's going to fly back automatically. So therefore, you can get quite a lot of automated quick shots out of the charge of one battery. Now, if you compare this to a typical DJI drone, which might have twice as much battery life, a lot of this time is going to be taken up with taking off, flying to the right height, changing the angle, positioning the drone, whereas getting a shot with this little guy is going to be much quicker. So, bear that in mind. Now, if you are actually concerned about battery life and battery management, this is how I would deal with it. So I would actually invest in the combo pack that comes with this, with 2 batteries. So make sure one is charged and ready to go, and then when the first runs out, then you can land the drone, flip out the batteries, and then you're simply off again. Now it doesn't actually take too long to change the battery. You literally just pull on it, and then you can just slide the next battery in. Now I would also suggest getting perhaps more than 1 battery, at least 2. So as I said, make sure you get the combo pack and perhaps even another spare battery if you want to. And this combo pack also comes with a battery charger. So I certainly wouldn't recommend getting the standard pack unless you predict very light use, because it only comes, I think, with 1 battery. Now you're probably going to find you're going to use the drone a lot more and more over time. So you know, battery's always good to have. Now it's going to take about 40 minutes or so to charge the battery. So if you're doing some really serious hardcore vlogging and continuous shooting with this guy, then this would be my strategy. If you predict heavy usage, then certainly get the Combo Plus package, because it comes with 3 batteries. And you can also get a spare battery from some place like AliExpress. Now, when one of the batteries is drained, then you can put a fully charged battery into the actual drone, and then charge the first battery, and then also charge the second battery in the battery charger. If you use something high powered like this Anker 100 watt charger, it's going to fast charge the batteries in about 40 minutes from empty. So the first 2 batteries should be ready to go again pretty soon. But I'm really talking about some serious heavy use of this drone here. If you're considering wanting to fly this guy around all day, getting some shots, then it's not really designed for that. It's more designed again for quick shots. For heavy usage, I would suggest getting a DJI drone instead. Question 11: is the storage upgradable, and how do you transfer the files? So the storage, it doesn't actually have a separate card to plug in. The actual storage is actually built into the drone, so there's no need to worry about getting an SD card. But that means that the drone is not actually expandable. It does actually have 32 gigabytes of storage space, so it's got enough for about 1.5 hours of recording time at 2.7K, 30 frames per second, which is the maximum resolution of this drone. Now, to download the videos, you need to go to the Hover app, connect to the Hover's Wi-Fi, select the file to download, and then it's going to allow you to download it to the mobile. You can then clear the onboard storage, and it's then ready to shoot again. Now, of course, if you're shooting all day, then I would suggest you connect it up to an SSD bank to your mobile phone, and then you can simply just transfer the files across from there straight onto the SSD. Question 12: can you fly the drone manually? Yes, you can fly the drone manually using the mobile app with a little virtual joystick. But for a better experience, I suggest getting the little pocket drone controller, which allows 2 movements at once. For example, tilting the gimbal up and flying up, which is impossible to do with just the mobile. Now, I've actually got a separate video on using this little drone controller, which I'm going to link to up here when it's ready. Question 13: can you fly the drone indoors? Yes, you can fly it indoors, but it's actually quite tricky in a small room. So see a video up here with my experiments flying it in a very small home. Now, it's certainly probably going to be a lot easier in a larger building. And I also found that the battery does seem to drain quicker when flying it in manual mode. Also, the video quality is not great in low light, so bear that in mind. Well, I hope these questions and answers have been useful to someone out there. Again, let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like to know about this drone, and if I haven't covered them already, and I'll certainly do a follow-up video, or I'll post a response accordingly in the comments. Okay guys, and that's it for this video, so see you soon on another video. Take care.